Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Mark Parham podcast. You can follow me on Twitter at twitter.com/ Mark Parham underscore. Again, it's MarkParham is in Mary underscore. Um, I was, I look at a website called thegatewaypundit.com. It's a very good website. I think their website is better than what you'd find on CNN.com, even Fox News.com or whatever it is. But thegatewaypundit.com is an amazing website. And I came across a story that shows, what is it, the Oscars. You know how, you have the Oscars where they, celebrate Hollywood and different movies and stuff like that. But the story was talking about, what is it, how they the folks at the Oscar Awards, they built a wall to keep celebrities safe or something like that. And I find it amazing that people in Hollywood want to build, fencing to keep celebrities safe, but these are the same people that go out on television and talk about, there's no border crisis and it's overblown and it's racism to secure the border and Donald Trump is a racist and we should welcome everybody to come to America and all this other stuff. But I'm looking at the photo and it's in California and it looks like they've constructed some fencing or a barrier to, to keep celebrities safe, I guess. So, for security concerns or something like that. And, no, it just shows you the Hollywood hypocrites in action. It's okay for them to live behind gates and walls. And if you look at a lot of these folks' mansions, they live in gated communities and with security and walls and folks with guns and protection. But, it's wrong if you have, or if you want, the border wall built, the U.S. southern border wall to be built. You're a racist and there's something wrong with that. Some of these folks every day would come out and hammer Trump on, it's racism and he doesn't like Hispanic folks because he wants to build the wall and all this other stuff. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of money. But these folks in L.A. live behind, gates and walls and all sorts of stuff and have security, armed private security with protection, with guns and stuff. And, it's just so, it's just the height of hypocrisy. And, these Democrats, they say one thing and then they live a total different reality. It almost reminds me of some of the gangster rappers back in the 90s, how they would say all this stuff but then be, taking the money they were making from their record companies and sending their kids to private school and living out in Malibu somewhere. It almost reminds me of that. But I mean, for these folks to get on TV every single day and talk about January 6th and the border and Trump's a racist and conservatives don't get it and they need to, realize that we need to love everybody and all this other mess. And these same people always want security. They don't want to walk anywhere without security. They don't want to move without security. They want protection. They want, their houses to be guarded like Fort Knox. But God forbid an American citizen who works a regular 9 to 5 job wants to, have a licensed firearm or, protect themselves. It's a problem. And I'm looking at this story and it's just amazing because these folks, every time there's something that happens in America, a shooting or something, they go with the typical talking points and, love everybody, kumbaya. But these folks always, want all the security. And it's amazing to me. And we have a situation with the border where we don't know who's coming over. We don't know if it's folks, from Mexico, China. I mean, we just have folks pouring across the border. And I always tell people it's almost like the equivalent of leaving your door wide open at nighttime. Like, who would go to bed with their door wide open? I'm not talking about having it unlocked. I'm talking about just wide open. And I've looked at videos of the border, and we have some spots where somebody can just step over. I mean, you can almost ride a bicycle over, to America. There's no wall in place, nothing. I mean, some places have a wall, and then there's other places with nothing. And it's got to stop. We have to secure our southern border, and again, we might even have to look into. I don't know if it's a big problem yet, but look at what's going on with our northern border. I mean, we always talk about the South, but we just need to secure America. We're the only country where we'll send all of this money over to a place like the Ukraine to, protect their border. We don't even protect ours. We send billions of dollars, like I'm almost like Trump. We send billions and billions of dollars to, these other countries to secure their border from, folks trying to come over and invade. But we have an invasion at our southern border. I mean, people don't like to call it that, but anytime you have millions of people that can just come over, and the sad part about it, they come over and they can get health care benefits. They can get stuff that, some folks like you and I can't get unless we go out here and work our tails off. You have folks who can come over here and get driver's license and health care and just things where, we almost open up the floodgates for folks that we don't even know, that aren't citizens, that don't contribute, that haven't been born here. I couldn't go over to, let's just say, Mexico and get a bunch of free benefits and not have to register for certain things. And, we just open up the welcome mat for these folks. And, people can say what they want, but I call it controlled chaos. The Democrats see these folks as, potential voters. That's why they, open up the floodgates for these folks. That's got to be the only reason why. And, to let millions of folks come over that, we don't know if these folks are criminals. We don't know if they're gangbangers. We don't know what they've done in their past life. And, at least we should find out who these people are. I mean, forget all of I know some people like to make it a racial issue, but forget all that. If you living in a house, apartment, wherever, I don't care, a tent somewhere out on Skid Row, you want to know who you're interacting with or who's walking through your front door. We don't know anything about these folks. I mean, it's so bad. I've even heard of some Chinese folks. It might be true or untrue. I've heard Chinese folks coming across the border because now people see this as a, opening where it's like we're not doing anything. We just allow anybody to come over. And so we really have to get a grip on that. And Kamala was supposed to, be looking at the border and making things, right down there. But Kamala doesn't even visit. Kamala's went to the border like a few times. Joe Biden, he's come a few times. He refuses to go down there. It's a joke to them. But it's not a joke to the American people when you see that you have folks who are getting jobs and stuff that, Americans should be getting, or people getting benefits and all this other stuff that you're paying for. It's not a joke then, but, you when people ask them, how do you feel on the border? Kamala Harris, she laughs, she giggles, oh, everything's fine. And, it's like we see the pictures online, we see the pictures on Twitter, and it just goes to show you how they look at the American people as fools, how they'll sit up there and we'll see all these images and then they'll say, well, everything's fine. You don't have to worry. We have everything under control. Well, then how are we getting all this fentanyl coming? Look at all this fentanyl coming to the across the border, and all these drugs and stuff coming across the border to places like California and Arizona. People have to start, looking at reality. That's reality. And it's amazing because you'll see CNN and MSNBC, they'll act like, all these drugs and things are coming just out of the sky. Oh, well, there's a fentanyl crisis in this place and that place. Well, where do you think the drugs are coming from? And the drugs are getting here because, on our southern border, we do nothing. They are able to just come get through the whatever they're getting through the gates or whatever. And, we don't do anything about it. I think Trump was one of the few people who, had a plan in place and told some of these, illegal immigrants or immigrants, migrants, whatever you call them, stay in Mexico until your paperwork is straightened out, then come to America. But I mean, these Democrats want to take away certain things, and again, not to make it a racial thing, but you see how quick they, got rid of the Haitians. When the Haitians try to get, some citizenship, you see how quick the American government turned those folks away, send them right back to Haiti. We should take that same energy and do it to Mexico or to Mexican citizens. You can't just come over here and not register or not, have your proper paperwork in place. I couldn't just go over to Mexico and say, oh, well, you know what? I want free housing. I want welfare. I want Social Security. I can't do that. I couldn't do that anywhere else but America. And I know that we have the Statue of Liberty and it's what's give me you're poor and you're tired and all this other stuff, but it doesn't say that America should be stupid. I mean, we're in times where we need to know who's coming, over the border. And, it was a big issue in the Carrie Lake election. I mean, I think Carrie Lake, she was running to be governor versus some lady who, doesn't even like to make public speeches. And again, you look at how the Democrats, I mean, people can say what they want. I think the election was stolen, but it is what it is. But Carrie Lake lost. And Carrie Lake was going to be somebody to say, you know what, Arizona, we're a border state. We need to get control of this crisis because it's a crisis right now. I mean, you just have millions of people pouring over our border that we don't know who they are. We don't know if they're criminals. We don't know what they are, because some of these people are not just little innocent migrants or illegal aliens or whatever you want to call them. Some of these folks aren't innocent. Some of these folks were criminals back where they come from, and now they can come to America and have a whole different identity. Some of these guys, because I look at Breitbart and some of these websites, and some of these folks have serious criminal charges in Mexico, and they're able to sneak across the border and relocate to California and get housing and everything else. It's really unfair for hardworking Americans that can hardly afford to keep food on the table. And you're looking at somebody who can just break the laws and get everything. And it's insane. I mean, I really think that's one of the number one things we should crack down on in America. I mean, I know we probably have a list of, debt crisis and all this other stuff, but until we solve our problems with immigration, America's going to be in a free-for-all. And I don't know why some of these California liberals keep on electing these liberal governors. It just year after year that, I mean, you look at Gavin Newsom. I mean, has the state really improved? When you look at videos online, you just see Skid Row and you see, all of these tents, and you see tent cities everywhere in some places. And I mean, the only time they clean them up is I think they were cleaning up one area because it was a Super Bowl and they didn't want, bad press in California because, people were visiting all over, and to see a bunch of tents would sort of make California look bad. But it's just like, as much money as California has, and you have all of these, liberal hypocrites who are in tech who always talk about, oh, well, we need to help people and all this other mess. And, we need to treat everyone as human beings. Well, why don't we give those folks the task of actually fixing the homeless crisis? But it's almost like they don't want to, because they look at a lot of these immigrants and people who are coming over here as potential voters. And they don't realize some of these folks are actually, people who support Trump. Once they, get some citizenship, make things happen for themselves, some of these people turn from the Democrat Party to the Republican Party. So that's another rude awakening. It's just like, don't think all of these people who come over here are so pro-government. Some of these folks, they come over for opportunity, and it's wrong what they're doing coming over here legally. But some of these people are going to be future Republicans. So I guess, that is the silver lining in the whole thing. But again, America can't keep on allowing everybody just to come over here. And it is what it is. And if you're a person where you have debates with people or friends about this issue, don't let them, to change the narrative with you and make you seem like you're a racist. It's not a racist to know, even if you have a house, apartment, who's coming in and out of your house, apartment, wherever you're at. It's not racist to ask those questions. It's nothing wrong with legal immigration. Again, there's nothing wrong with legal immigration. If you're going to come over here, do the right thing, work hard, go to school, I have no problem with that if you do it legally. But to come over here and expect, to get free college and stuff like some of these people expect, that's wrong. And they again, they're going to keep doing it because they know our politicians allow it, and they know that America is going to roll out the welcome mat. So if you look at it from the standpoint of the person coming over here, can you blame them for coming over here? I'm to a point where I blame our politicians. Naturally, they're going to come over here for the benefits and, different things we provide. I mean, that's common sense. Anybody would. You would, I would, anybody. I blame our politicians because our politicians are supposed to know better. They see all this stuff happen. They visit the border, and they still allow it to happen. And it's a debate we've been having forever. I think, it was a sort of like a talking point in the 1980s. I think Reagan versus Bush or something like that, where it was mentioned or something, I think during one of the debates or something, back then. So it's been something that we've been talking about forever, immigration and certain issues, but it's just like we have the Republicans, we have the Democrats, we have the Republicans, Democrats, and it's like, a hamster going on the hamster wheel. It's like, who's going to solve this problem? We keep on just walking in circles. And so, I fault both sides. I fault the Democrats even more, but we can't just blame the Democrats. It's the Republicans too. One guy I looked at, I watch, what is it? I watch C-SPAN and Fox News. I keep up with politics and stuff, but it was one politician who was saying, oh, we need to maybe fund Mexican businesses. That'll solve the problem. This was a Republican saying that. This is, again, this is why you hear people talk about rhinos. Why are we going to fund businesses in Mexico when we have American businesses that are closing down, that can't afford, to keep the lights going because of high inflation? Or my bad, not the lights going, to keep the lights on because of high inflation. Like, why are we going to sit up and fund businesses in Mexico when we have struggling businesses right in America? It's like we got to get back to an America first agenda. And people can call it racist, whatever they want to call it, but it's just common sense. It has nothing to do with race. Every time these folks can't win arguments, race, you're being a racist. No, we need to get back to America first, just like they do in their countries. The other countries aren't thinking about America. They don't care about America, even though they might act like it. But we need to get back to helping our veterans. We need to get back to helping our, college students and truckers and moms. And, we need to get back to fixing what's going on here. We can't keep on giving all of our resources and all of our wealth and all of our, military strength to all these nations that turn around and just spit in our face, because that's what they do. I mean, we're helping these nations out so, the folks don't have to come here. And again, they just open the border. They just allow them to come here. I mean, what is the Mexican president doing? The Mexican president should say, you know what? You guys won't build the border wall on your side. I'm going to do something because, you guys are good to us. Let me return the favor. They don't care. They wouldn't care if half their population comes to America. They would just act like they don't see anything. I mean, some of these leaders in Mexico, they turn the other way. I mean, they'll sit up and, oh, yeah, we know there's a problem. Yeah, Joe Biden, we love you. But, I mean, when rubber meets the road, they look the other way. You have politicians that do the same thing. Like I said, not just Democrats, Republican politicians, too. You have rhinos who, act like this isn't a major problem. So, again, it's I know I went off on a tangent a little bit, and I know sometimes I ramble, but I just had to mention this mess with Hollywood, and I had to sort of tie it to immigration because, again, it's all the same. Politicians, people who are celebrities want gates and walls, and they want to feel a sense of security. Well, that's the way, people in America feel who work regular 9-to-5s. We want a sense of security too. We want to know that that person in our neighborhood isn't a criminal, or that person who's, coming across the border isn't somebody who, might have killed somebody back in 1982. I mean, we at least deserve that right. And so, it's very sad. And I think that, if it looks like, who knows, Joe Biden might win again, or maybe Kamala, one of them. But if they win, it's only going to get worse. It's going to take somebody to come in there. I don't care if you're Republican or Democrat, to come in there and actually do something, to actually put their foot down and say, no, it's breaking the law. A lot of the laws are on the books. We just have to enforce them, because we can keep on doing these hearings and going back and forth for the next 200 years. And, it'll be the same thing. So somebody has to do something. And who knows, it might be a Republican, it might be a Democrat, it might be an independent, to have to do something, put their foot down and just start, using some common sense. I mean, a lot of the times in this country, we get so partisan. Oh, well, the Democrats and the Republicans. To me, we're at a point where it's both sides. The Democrats haven't really done anything on immigration but lip service. The Republicans haven't done anything but lip service either. It's like, again, the only person that's really done something is Trump. And that's why they're trying to indict Trump and get him on this, say he broke this law, that law, because Trump wanted to come in there and actually make change and call out stuff. I always say in life, the people who are trying to change things, trying to change the status quo, those are the folks who they go after. It happens in corporate America. It happens in education. It happens at a job where you might be working a job and you want to do everything correct, and half the staff isn't doing what they need to do. And sometimes you're the first person that they report on. They'll say, oh, well, you're doing a bad job over here. They wait till something happens to get you on one thing. And that's what they're doing to Trump. Trump makes them, He wants to run America a different way. He wants America to actually be strong. And a lot of these folks, they make money from problems. They make money off of jails. They make money off of people coming across our border. So they don't really care. So again, if you feel strong about the border and you see this hypocrisy, like I said in one of my other podcasts, speak out. Make a podcast, make a vlog. Even some of the folks that have done great work, there's some folks that are live in Texas that have just taken their cell phone camera and actually reported on what's going on out there, because you have some towns that border that border Mexico, and that some of these illegal immigrants, like I think there was one situation where they were crossing into this person's property or backyard or something like that, and they took out their camera and recorded it. Again, share your videos and stuff and speak out, share your experiences, speak out, go online, create blogs, go on Twitter, because the American media won't do it. I mean, these folks, they make money off of cheap labor, Republican and Democrats. So it's going to take folks like you to actually stand up, go to different meetings, and just make your voice heard. Start a podcast, do something. That's one of the reasons why I started this podcast, is just to speak out. I mean, I see so many things happening, and you get to a point where you get tired of just being a spectator. Sometimes you want to participate. So I would just say make your voice heard, because believe it or not, some of those videos that have gone on Twitter that have showed, border crossings and stuff, those have made an impact, because the media was trying to make it seem like, it wasn't happening at all. Like it was some conspiracy theory. Like that's what they do to folks when they don't want you to believe certain things. They say, oh, well, that person's a conspiracy theorist. That person's a right-wing lunatic. And they're always saying that there's this going on, that going on. And then 3 years later, they'll say, oh, yeah, but we reported the story, but no one paid attention. Like, it's just amazing. But, speak out and, follow my podcast. You can follow me on the different podcast platforms, Mark Parham Podcast. And, check me out on Twitter. And I plan to make more podcasts, like I said, on different things, politics, movies, sports. And, again, have a great day. Thank you.